Hello, welcome to JagaVision. If you can believe it, episode 33 of JagaVision. We're going to be drinking some Matcha Okumidori Okuda by Fujioka, farmer that we were drinking selections from last week. Pretty excited to make that happen. So we'll see how that goes. And we're going to have David Evans on from the Stick in the Mud over in Souk, and we'll also be joined by Sherri from Sister Speak. David's actually trying to join us right now, so let's see if we can't have him join the call. David, are you there?
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, just setting up.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, we're live here on JagaVision. We're on episode 33. A little bit of a late start. We had some challenges with the technology, but we figured it out. So, David, you and I were having quite a session there before we went live. So I'm glad we were
You're being kind to say we had challenges. It was me who had challenges.
No, it was me too, man. Like I'm supposed to start the session at 1. I started at 1:15. So yeah, definitely behind the 8 ball or whatever the expression is. Yeah, it's been interesting. But we should be joined shortly by Sherri from Sister Speak as well. But David, do you want to maybe let the audience know a little bit about the Stick in the Mud and out in Souk, and tell us a little bit about your project you got going on there?
Sure thing. The Stick in the Mud is a coffee roaster, bakery, and cafe. We opened up 07.
Yeah, you did.
So we're just about to celebrate 13 years this coming summer. We began very small, just about 700 square feet, and we had Sam Jones of 2% Jazz roasting our coffee for us.
Mm-hmm.
Within a couple of years, we bought a small roaster and took a bunch of classes and did a bunch of online learning and began roasting for ourselves.
Which is exciting.
And currently, roasting is a lot of what we do. We're serving wholesale accounts all across the South Island,
Nice.
and we ship coffee pretty much every week to many places in Canada.
Cool.
You can't see much behind me, but this is our production facility. It used to be, you see the sign up here, Speed Stick. This used to be a secondary cafe for us.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's storage for sacks of coffee beans and for packaging bags. So the Stick has grown quite a lot in 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've of course restructured quite a lot since COVID.
Right.
But I'm sort of seeing COVID now as a circumstance, like gravity.
Right.
This is not something we can affect change on. This is the way it is.
Right.
So we're just moving forward as we must.
And just sort of internalizing that and making decisions as we go, kind of thing. Hey, and it's a fluctuating thing too. Like for us as well, it was a profound impact on everything we do. There was a sort of trajectory that we were watching carefully and guiding, and you know, it's always a roller coaster ride. There's only so much you can control in how things move forward. But yeah, it was a little bit more, I guess, understandable. You could see kind of graphs and sort of figure it out. But then when COVID hit, suddenly all these trends and this sort of like idea of how things were functioning just went through like a blender and came out the other side. And it's just kind of like, okay, I'm kind of dizzy, but and I think I'm still in the blender, but but I've kind of sort of, I don't know, found a little bit of an equilibrium within said blender, you know, and I feel like I got a better sense of how to sort of navigate these intense waters, kind of thing. So yeah,
the rapids that surround us.
Yeah.
Trying to be an island of tranquility in the middle of the river, right?
Right.
You know, we shut down for 5 weeks in March and April, and we had not been closed for more than 2 days in a row, and at that time, 12 and a half years.
Right.
So that was a long period of objectivity and introspection.
Do I want to do this? Do I want to continue even, right? I think a lot of people...
Absolutely. All kinds of questions, all kinds of existential questions for, you know, parts of your life. And I honestly believe that if we didn't learn from this moment of COVID,
mm-hmm.
we probably don't deserve to learn,
right.
you know,
yeah,
as a species.
Yeah.
If we haven't gotten better at something or examined our lives and said, you know what, that part was never very satisfying and that part was never very this, and sort of come back as a more complete person, shedding some of the things that were marginal in your life and in your business.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's also interesting, a lot of things that I really needed to commit to, or felt that I needed to commit to, you know, like I felt like as a wholesaler, I felt I had to be open to the public as well, doing drink service when we're open. And it's kind of interesting looking back at just how much of Jaga Silk sort of hours were wrapped up in opening up the bar and then preparing drinks and then having this this close, and just like there's so many tasks and getting the food ready, and it was really beautiful, and I was really happy and proud of the bar. But COVID did give us an opportunity to just completely shut down that side of the business and really focus on online and focus on supporting those wholesale clients that were open. Most of the volume at that point, especially in March, was from retailers, because a lot of people were buying groceries to make things at home, of course, right? But it was just like, okay, it was a really interesting opportunity to take stock and really slow down that area. And I always kind of felt that in my gut, that Jaga Silk would benefit so much if we just put the bar on pause for a little bit and just focused on wholesale for a bit and focused on online. And it's interesting to see that that's actually the case. I don't know if it would have happened that way, where online would have done as well if it weren't for the circumstances that we're in, where there's definitely a community support there to keep local businesses alive by really participating in that local economic growth via the internet. But definitely it's been really encouraging, I guess, and I've felt really supported. And it's at the same time, I always looked at our wholesale business as almost like a thermometer on like sort of the health of the specialty coffee community. We have a number of I mean, I don't want to say like we supply everybody or anything. We have like about 75 clients. We supply not like hundreds and hundreds of cafes. We're at less than 100. We're like about 75, and we're but what I do see is that a lot of, like, there was at least 5%, if not 10%, that just said, for various reasons, either one, I don't have the money to continue, they closed forever, or they decided during their pause and their internal reckoning that this is not something that they wanted to do anymore, and there was something really powerful about that too. And I really definitely had to ask myself, like, I actually have a really good reason to throw in the towel right now, so if I really want to, this is the moment. But
that's right.
I was able to go and get through that with my wife and I and talk about it and go, like, you know what, I think this is something that makes sense even when we have an excuse to not do it anymore.
Well, businesses are communities. And I think this was an opportunity for many businesses that were struggling before to find the excuse they needed to close down.
Yeah.
But for your business and for mine as well, that wasn't really an option. I mean, we closed our retail like you did for about 5 weeks, but we maintained wholesale, and we, like you did as well, we launched an online presence and began doing door-to-door delivery of our roasted coffee. And that went from 0 people taking receipt of our beans to a couple of hundred taking receipt of our beans over the course of a month. So that was great. But that was a sign to me that the people who would come in here during every day of the week or once a week or 5 times a day, some of them, they still wanted that community, and to leave that behind would have been very difficult. Not just for me, but for all those people who see this business as being something that they need and want. I mean, coffee is an addictive substance. And it's a habit forming substance. So if you remove that habit from someone's day, I think that after about 60 days, habits change. So we had to get back there. We had to make that decision about staying on and get back there fairly quickly. So over the course of about 35 days, we struggled through that and relaunched. We're a different situation than we were. We were open 7 days a week. We were open 11 hours a day, which meant we had staff on site for about 18 hours a day. With our bakers getting here at 2 or 3 in the morning, and then the closing baristas here until about 6 o'clock at night. So now we're 7.5 hours a day, 6 days a week, and it really feels better.
I believe it.
At least to me as the owner, it feels like it's working better.
I feel like there was a lot of push and pull, definitely. Like you do a lot of things, and I think when you're starting a business where you sort of like there's so much freedom when you start that you sort of lose as you develop, where you like, I think a lot of running a business is deciding where you want to make compromises on your vision, right? And where do I have to draw that line? And I want to stay functioning. I want to have actual money coming in so that I can continue and pay my rent and stuff. But at the same time, I need it to be spiritually sustainable. I don't want to just do something that is just like, you know, run of the mill, generic, anyone can do it kind of thing. I want to do something that feels special to me. And I guess along the way, some of those compromises that I made, that Mew and I made, didn't actually have to be made. And it took COVID to realize that, to go like, you know what, actually, we didn't have to do that. And we don't have to, you know, like say 18-hour days is a case in point, you know, not that we were open 18 hours, but like, we don't have to do that, you know, like we can do more with less. We can have, you know, we can kind of nip off different elements of what we're doing and focus on the core stuff. And we're going to feel a lot better about it, you know, like a lot.
And also, I mean, a lot of the growth that I'm sure you went through and that I went through was opportunistic growth. It wasn't really well planned.
Yeah.
It was like, that seems like a good idea. Let's do that.
Yes.
Whereas when we first opened our businesses, I'm sure you're the same. Yeah. We had a business plan. We looked at it very objectively. We were very critical of the ideas that we had.
Right.
And we launched that, and that was successful. Yeah. And then someone says, why don't you do this? And so you take it on. And why don't you do this? And before you know it, you've got all these weakly supported tendrils that aren't part of the core. Totally. And so COVID was the reassessment.
It's totally been a reassessment.
Or rather, it still is.
Yeah. We're still in the blender. Yeah. It's like, You know, another thing is also, you know, I feel like this is a good opportunity to start making some tea, but I wanted to just touch on one other thought that popped into my brain, and we could do this while we're making tea, but you're at 65 degrees. Sherri from Sister Speak is still not with us yet. But I just wanted to say that another thing that kept us going is when I was analyzing actually a client of ours that had a lot of cafes, and they were kind of looking, you know, things were you know, they were hitting some headwinds with COVID, etc. And they had a lot of shops, and kind of looking at that and going, you know, if they did close their doors, there's a lot of relationships that are beyond the one that everybody sees, that the public sees, which is the wholesaler to the client to their customers. There's the other side of that relationship, which is you and I both work directly with a number of farmers. So that suddenly gets compromised. Like India went into lockdown in March, and they lost an opportunity to pick their first flush Darjeelings. And that makes up 80% of their total revenue for the year. And they physically they were legally not allowed to go out and pick. They couldn't process. Everything is so like close quarters. There's no machinery that could fill in for them and play that role. And it was just watching that and going, wow, you know, FedEx wasn't even allowed to function. You know, like that to me is like a recipe for starvation, you know, like where you can't even have couriers move around during a lockdown. And I was like, wow, you know, like this is intense. And then to keep those relationships going, even at a very sort of stilted capacity, seemed pretty important, you know, and Japanese farmers have a little bit more opportunity to keep things mechanized and close to home, smaller labor forces, etc. So I didn't feel the same production limitations for them, but they definitely were feeling their feet to the fire with less people buying stuff, you know. So it was interesting to also take that into account when making the decision, right? It's like, yeah, I have this amazing, beautiful community that I'm supplying with matcha and loose tea and tea lattes, and kombucha, but we have also the supply chain, right? And those networks of relationships of all the people that are supporting us, and in turn we're supporting them, right?
Yes.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Well, a very similar thing happened in coffee.
Yeah.
In the middle of March, that's when places like Peru and Bolivia would be entering their harvesting season.
Right.
And they were told you're not allowed. Yeah. Very quickly, the government realized, oh gosh, that's a huge part of our GDP.
Yeah.
We need to get them picking. But there was talk for a while there that there would be no Peruvian coffee this year. And the Stick in the Mud also does some green bean brokerage. We sell beans to other roasters.
Right.
And a couple of them really rely heavily on Peru. So it was like, gosh, what are we going to do? I mean, we can always balance a flavor profile. We can always find something that tastes similar and blend it with something else to provide that consistent blend profile for people.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a deviation from your regular business, you know, from what you've been doing for a number of years. So to be faced with all these things at once it was really difficult to get through. So I absolutely feel for the farmers in Darjeeling.
Right. Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's I had heard word through the grapevine that there was similar challenges at origin for coffee green beans. And
Yes.
I mean, from that, I mean, I do want to start making some tea. It looks like Sister Speaks joined the call. I don't quite hear her. Are you there, Cheyenne? No. Okay. Yeah, she's
like the mic's turned off.
Maybe. I can see that she's joined the call, but I don't see any video or any audio. So, kind of interesting. Well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, we can hear you, Sister Speak. If you can join the call, you've all the permissions should be in place. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, amazing. Okay, cool. All right. Are you just walking down as we talk, or?
Yeah, I'm almost there.
Okay, amazing. You can actually just you're in my bubble, so you can just join in the shop, I think, when you arrive. Sherri-Ann, this is David. Sherri-Ann.
Hi, David.
Hi there. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
There you are. I had my screen off for a sec.
So David's from the Stick in the Mud out in Souk. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to visit the Stick in the Mud. I think we have gone there together in the past, no?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I remember it.
It's right.
What road is it on?
It's across from the Legion. It's kind of it's like in and tucked in behind from the main road there in Souk. And
that's right. If you turn right at the Petrocan station, we're on the left after your first left.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And
I know Souk quite well.
Yeah, my grandma's from Souk, so she's no longer with us, unfortunately. But we would go there quite often to visit her, and then my father grew up there and stuff. So yeah, definitely some roots in Souk. And we were just Sherri-Ann, David is the owner of Stick in the Mud, and Sherri-Ann, David, she's the singer-songwriter and lead. It's actually her recording alias is Sister Speak, and we've been her tea sponsor for close to 10 years. She travels the world. There's a little bit of nepotism as she is my sister, but pretty accomplished musician and has a number of studio albums. Is doing an amazing job with her live streams every Thursday. Before she was actually just coming off of that now, and then she jumps on the show every week and is a regular guest. So yeah, and then Sherri-Ann, Stick in the Mud has been around for 12 years. We were just going through the trials and tribulations of COVID and what that's meant for both of our businesses and discussing that a little bit. So it's been it's been an interesting talk. We were just talking about origin and how how COVID has impacted farmers and their capacity to deliver. We were about to make some matcha, but how close are you?
I'm on I think this is Blanchard and Courtney, so I'm a block away.
Oh, amazing. Okay, cool. So
like maybe 4 minutes.
So awesome. Okay, great. Then maybe you'll be able to join us just fine. We're drinking the Okumidori Okuda. So I want to talk about this particular tea is a selection that we called Okumidori by Fujioka back in the day. David, do you remember when you were serving our matcha, you had a selection called Owl?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Owl grade matcha, we actually changed the name from Owl. Owl was kind of like our answer to that requirement or that request from, or perceived request from customers that they have something consistent all the time.
Right.
And the reality is, as you very well know, when you're making an espresso blend, that the ingredients that make up that espresso blend, as much as you may buy from you could buy from the same farmer, but the green beans are going to develop and change over the year. The sort of the temperature requirements, even the seasonal requirements of your customer base are going to change. And so you're going to have slight edits on what you're putting together, even if you're going for a fairly consistent flavor profile.
Absolutely.
And some people recognize this with, say, adding digits to the name of their espresso blend, or they just have an espresso blend and they just kind of explain that to people that are interested in this part of the process. There's lots of ways of answering it, but we realized fairly quickly that we don't really blend anything. We are definitely shooting for a particular price point when we were putting out that Owl grade, but grade also implies something is worse or better than something else, right? So we wanted to really step away from that, and so we started to go, okay, what are we going to call it? Are we going to call it so then we started calling it a designation. But then it was still, we kind of entered the same trap. It's like, okay, owl designation, what does that mean? Well, it's like, well, it's just a designation. It's just fulfilling this requirement. So what is that requirement? Okay, well, it needs to be a little bit cheaper. It needs to, you know, okay, I'm still having that same conversation, and people would be like, I want that designation, and they weren't going down the road that we really wanted to take them down, which was, let's talk about farmers, let's talk about cultivars. So I changed the name of all of the selections to reflect what they are. So this is an Okumidori, which is a cultivar. So like in apples, there's Gala, Red Delicious. I am sure you're well aware of this, but for our viewers, Gala, Red Delicious, Granny Smith are all different cultivars of apples. They're going to have a profound impact on your experience of said apple. Well, Okumidori, Yabukita, Samidori, Tsuyuhikari, these are all Japanese cultivars that are going to affect your experience when you have a tea. And
so these are still all Camellia sinensis. They're just different varieties of that.
That's correct. Yeah, and how it works in Japan normally, and I've been actually, this is that you would have the farmers sell to a co-op, and then the co-op sells to a tea company, and the tea company will pull multiple single estate selections and cultivars and have that very geeky data, but then they will wrap it up into a blend, and then they will present that to their customer base with a poetic name, like Crane Flies Above the Clouds is a selection we had back in the day, and it was a blend of multiple cultivars, and so from multiple estates. And so we were like, you know what, we're not buying from the co-ops, we're buying directly from the farmers, and we have kind of a unique opportunity to present our teas this way. So even when I have Japanese visitors, I can feel pretty confident that we have something pretty special, because this is from a 7th generation plus farmer who's been, you know, his family's been growing tea in this region for at least 200 years. And he's really skilled. We're his only wholesale customer. He sells from the roadside, or he goes directly to supermarkets and goes in the specialty kind of department stores and has his own sort of table that he does for like weekly stints. And the other way he sells his tea is to these co-ops that are then purchased for, oh, something's ringing. Oh, weird.
Yeah, she's at the door.
Okay. No, she isn't. That was actually a spam call on the on the Google call. Just one sec.
Warming things up. Getting ready.
Yo. Okay, so she's here. She's Sherri again. She's in my bubble, so it's all good. Can you get him? I'll move over here. Sherri audience Sherri in person. You already met via the phone call, but now you're on this screen. It's kind of awesome. Where I was going with that is that another thing that these farmers, that these tea companies do, David, is they actually finish fire the teas. Do you want to move over this way? Here we go. They finish fire the teas and in a roaster that's really similar to a coffee roaster. And I didn't know that process existed, but it's actually not only something that happens in Japan, but you see it happen in like Rock Mountain tea, like Rock Oolong, from Wuyi Mountain. You see the Phoenix Mountain Oolongs. You see a lot of different teas are kind of like there's a fixing process or a finishing process where they roast it anywhere from 80 to 90 to 100 degrees, sometimes a little bit more than that, for like 5 to 12 minutes, depending on the cultivar, depending on the density of the leaf. Like suddenly I've been, over the past 4 years, really having conversations with producers that really remind me a lot of the conversations that I have with specialty coffee roasters like yourself. It's really fascinating. And so we've been actually exploring like what that would look like to fire these teas ourselves. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent. This tea is special because it is from a farmer that has not fired it in any way, shape, or form. He's gone on all about. Oh, you wanna mute that? There you go. Okay, awesome. And then you can hear?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, cool. All right. Can you hear Sherri? Sherri, you want us to talk?
Hello.
You can hear her, okay?
I can hear her.
Okay, you want to close your video? If you turn off your video.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, there we go. All right, now we're all technologically synced up. Okay, yeah, so it makes it special. This is a competition grade, but I don't call it that. It's an Okumidori Okuda. So very long introduction. Okumidori, very special cultivar, grows slowly, greater concentration of amino acids, umami, richness. We have an Okumidori Shimoyama, an Okumidori Fukada. The suffix name is actually referring to this one's an Okumidori Okuda. It's referring to the micro lot. So we actually have three different cultivars, three different micro lots using the same cultivar from the same farmer. Isn't that interesting? So today we're drinking the Okumidori Okuda. So what I would love you to do there, David, and maybe I can even guide you through this, Sherri. Sure. Do you want to be the maker of the tea, and I'll kind of stand over your shoulder? Is I'd love you to put a sieve. So you want to wash your hands over here? Awesome. I want you to put preheat the bowl.
Yep.
I want you to put the bowl on the scale.
Yep.
I want you to put the sieve on the scale. Sorry, on the bowl that's on the scale. I want you to tare it.
Okay.
And then I want you to do a leveled off teaspoon, or just you can do this like a pepper shaker. I want you to put 2 grams.
Okay.
Of matcha.
Well, let me run and grab a sieve. I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so yeah, you can grab that sieve right there.
This one?
Yeah. And you just put it on the bowl here. Oh, it looks like the spoon has gone through the handle there. And then, just so everybody can see this, we're doing the... Oh, look at that. Are we out of Okumidori Okuda? Do you want to... can you ask them for a Okumidori... Actually, off of the... Oh, there it is. Awesome. You want to grab me an Okumidori Okuda tin from just right over there? It's the far left, I think. Matcha tin. You see it? Awesome.
2 grams, you say?
I say 2 grams, yeah.
Let's do that. Everything's warming up.
Excellent.
Okay.
That's the one.
Sweet.
So this is kind of a new way of talking about this tea, the Okumidori Okuda. We used to just call this Okumidori First Flush, because we weren't getting 3 different Okumidoris from the same farmer even 2 years ago. We also, though, buy his Yabukita from him. It's kind of interesting, too, because the Yabukita is a little bit cheaper than this one, but the farmer prefers the Yabukita, even though judges would prefer this one. He prefers it because it's a better balance of bitter, sweet, and acid, whereas this one's a little bit more rich. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, and tare it, and then weigh out 2 grams. And what's also interesting is that Yabukita is so ubiquitous, it's used in, oh wow, nice, 2.0 grams. First try. I love those moments. Okay, so pick up the handle. It helps when you push it through the sieve. If you hold the sieve sideways, so you have more surface area to push it through. And then use the edge of the spoon, and then just try and get it through in 3 seconds. Just back and forth.
3.
Yeah, and just use the edge of the spoon. It's what really helps. There you go. Amazing. Okay. Oh no, oh no. So you're at 65 degrees over there, David?
I am, yep.
Okay, so what I'd love you both to do is at this moment, this is a kind of a great moment to lid your matcha so that you expose it to less opportunity for oxidation. And then I'd love you both to tare the scale again and put 90 grams of water on top.
I'm still trying to force the matcha through the sieve.
Oh no, is your sieve too fine?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay. You know what? You can make do with just pouring it into the bowl then. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging to whisk. It's a nicer texture and easier to whisk if you can put it through a sieve.
90 grams?
90 grams. Yeah, you can pour with a little bit more confidence there. Otherwise it'll do it. There you go. Awesome. It's actually
90 grams, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty easily controllable flow rate. These fellow kettles are they have a weighted handle on the right there, so it's like a counterweight, so that when you're pouring, it doesn't like get out of control. It's kind of a cool way to do a kettle. And now you take it off of the scale there. How'd we do? Where are we at now, David? You got it in?
I've got 90 grams, and I'm just about to...
About to whisk? Okay, so you want to grab... oh, wow, both of them are missing.
I have one of them here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, we're going to have to steal that one. Left, yeah. And then you're going to want to hold it between the ridge and the black band. Anchor the bowl with the hand that you're not whisking with.
Ridge and the black band?
Between the ridge and the black band, right there. That's great. And then you hold it. What's nice is to put your hip away from like to allow. If you put your hip a little bit away from it, it extends your whisking arm. Does that make sense? It really helps to stand when you're whisking too.
Oh well.
Yeah. and then you wanna draw M's in the liquid for about 3 seconds. That's gonna gather in all of the powder. Don't draw any circles. And then you wanna whisk vigorously in the center without. You wanna about like softly brushing your teeth kind of strength of the bottom of the bowl. You do that for about 5 seconds, and then you wanna go from introducing air to about 7 seconds of gradually, lazily slowing down. And this is an integration of the froth, kind of like when you're steaming specialty milk. And you do a lazy pause in the center, and all of the froth is going to dome into the center, and then you pull up. And ideally, you get a nice froth that's about 1 centimeter thick, if you can. That's a really nicely done. Nicely done. Okay. And it does take practice. For those watching, we have some videos how we make traditional matcha on our YouTube channel if you want to go check it out. Okay, awesome. Let's try this. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, look at that color, audience. Yeah, fair. So you want to fill your mouth with that liquid. Ideally 1/3 at a time if you can. Isn't it? This is honestly, guys, I don't like to choose favorites, but unfortunately I have to with this one. This is my favorite matcha that we have. I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's so smooth and creamy and rich.
Very creamy. Yep, very rich, very creamy.
Yeah. There's like a vanilla element, a peach. There's like a fruit in there.
There's a little chocolate again.
Yeah, right? You know what's interesting too is that this guy does not finish fire at all, but we mill at a temperature that's slightly hot. So when we visited Fujioka's facility in Wazuka, his mills are like these traditional stone mills. So he's got this system. The traditional system is these massive granite mills that mill 40 grams of matcha per hour.
Wow.
Right? And to keep it from building up friction and getting too hot, he actually has 3 mills side by side inside of like a refrigerated unit. And you know those commercial fridges, you've seen our commercial fridges, those standard commercial fridges, right? Like those big. So imagine one that had a 3-door fridge. That's kind of the size of it. It's a little larger than that. But
so how big are these stone wheels?
These wheels are about they're about 3 feet.
Wow. Okay.
And then they're the plates that you load from the top, and then it's kind of like, it looks like a flour mill, but the teeth of the mill that are cut by traditional stonemasons that are actually becoming harder and harder to come by. There's like 1 or 2 in like different regions, and it's hard to grow the matcha industry in Japan without having somebody who can cut the stone correctly. And for the longest time, we experimented. We sent our stuff off to different people producing different mills, and we just couldn't find a mill that would work for us, for our purposes. We couldn't see ourselves spending $10,000 on, 3 different mills and being able to produce 40 grams per hour per mill. Like, the math just didn't add up. And the only way that Fujioka is able to make that work is he's got his mom, basically Grandma Fujioka. She hangs out watching the mill going like the whole time, and she just makes sure that it doesn't bleed dry, and she plans her bathroom breaks, and she's into it. She's like on this, like Grandma's like super specialized.
How many days a week does she do that?
Well, it depends on their orders, right? But yeah, and then his dad helps out with packing tea. He used to be like really involved in the harvesting, but he's a lot older now. So Fujioka's cousin helps out. His uncle helps out. So it's definitely, it's a family thing. He always says, like when we first talked to him, it took 3 years to get him to agree to sell to us, because he's like, I don't have enough product. I'm sorry, But I think he was expecting us to buy like hundreds of kilos. Right. We're not that large. So we're lucky to work with him. But anyway, it's been a really fascinating engagement. And when we first started talking to him, actually, he didn't even know how to use email properly. So we were we were faxing back and forth.
So his grandmother or his mother would help out with the email, would she?
Oh, writing the faxes.
Really?
Yeah, they were faxing. Yeah, this is awesome. So
I'm
now
reading the label.
sorry.
Like Borat.
I'm reading the label.
Yeah.
So maybe you have to rewind a little bit, and I might have missed something. So he's sending you leaf, and you're grinding them here, or is he actually grinding and packaging for you there?
So for a long time, until 2018, we were so excited about his skill level that we were just leaving it with him, and also we couldn't find a mill. And so I did not finish this thought, is that in 2018, we finally completed the process of appropriating a mill that we were happy with. It produces 1 kilogram an hour. It's made by a company called Terada in Japan, and they've specialized in tea manufacturing equipment for over 50 years. And they created a mill that's actually behind me. I don't know if you can see it okay, but I've made tea from it, and it has actually like a chiller on the right that chill, or like cold water that chills the plates.
Yes.
And it makes it so that the plates don't get too hot. And so there's actually like a line running through the plates that help keep it at a particular temperature. And then we scan it with our laser thermometer and just make sure that it's not getting past 35 degrees centigrade. Because the goal is you want it to always be under 40. Otherwise, there's too much friction and you start to burn off the proteins that give you that rich flavor.
What happens on a very hot day? Can you just not mill?
What happens on a very hot day? Like if we're up at 40 degrees kind of thing?
Which wouldn't happen in Victoria, but maybe it would happen in other places. What would you do at that point?
Well, what Terada has done is they're kind of, when they mill in-house, they actually have it set up to a third device that actually runs that cold water through an actual chiller that uses glycol to chill the liquid that goes through the mill.
Okay.
We're not that fancy yet. We hope to someday get there. But one of the solutions they gave to us, which is super like Band-Aid solution, but works actually quite well, is we have vials of plastic bottles in the freezer filled with water, and we just keep on loading it throughout the day we're milling and chilling that temperature of the water down, and then that's actually doing for us what we needed to do. But
you've just made the radiator larger by putting cold water in.
Yeah, and we were also really concerned that we weren't getting the right texture, because it was like I was running it on the mill setting on here. It's on if you screw down we have like a dial setting and a post setting, and it like as you're screwing down the post, it measures how tight you're making it, and then there's like on the dial itself is where the arrow is, and we've been keeping a log over all this time to figure that out. But we found like this sweet spot with most matchas. The more high-end matchas like this one can handle being milled a little finer, but we've been finding this kind of sweet spot. If you mill too fine, though, you bring out too much gumminess and almost like a bitterness, because you have to change the way you whisk to match this newfound opportunity for a finer texture. But if we get this ideal texture, then great. This was all done by tongue. They the labs in Japan for Terada were actually analyzing it, and they said that if you put the tencha, the leaves that have been deveined, destemmed, and shade grown, and the stuff that you need to make matcha with, they said that if you put it through like a ball grinder or a burr grinder, they actually are square under a microscope. Whereas this one, they've mimicked the stone grinders, and they actually mimicked the teeth as well, and they did like a replica of that, and under a microscope, those specks, even though they're the same micron size, are round, and they go into the pores of your tongue better, so you actually taste a smoother texture because of the way that it's being milled. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So they just tried to recreate the randomness of a natural stone.
Yeah.
And they've actually probably perfected it.
I think they've done a pretty good job. But no matter what, though, it's a little hotter than those refrigerated stone mills. So actually, the matcha that I got from him before was a little bit more grassy because he didn't believe in finish firing. And now, because there's a little bit more friction, you can taste that chocolate or that nuttiness. That's actually from the heat of the mill a little bit. So there's a little bit of that Maillard reaction that's developing those sugars and making for that interesting flavor.
So then you milled this one?
Can you speak again?
Oh, did you mill this one?
I milled this one, yeah. So we've been milling them since 2018.
All of them?
All of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's been a process for us. And to kind of qualify it as well, actually, on the Tea Festival show on Monday, I'm going to be talking about this, but we actually have a granular gauge. It's a gauge that measures micron counts of powders. and to be able to like empirically see that on a gauge that we've met that threshold. It has to be under 10 microns to qualify as traditional matcha.
Right.
And 1 micron is 1/1000th of a millimeter. So this is really fine stuff.
Well, I wonder what my sieve is.
Well, let's see it. What does your sieve look like?
It's a super fine sieve I got from this great company in Victoria called JagaVision.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, can't use those ones. Those are
okay.
Yeah,
So
those are fine to begin with, but they're also a triple. If you look at them, water actually has a hard time going through them.
Right. Okay.
What is the purpose?
Well, now I know. Now I have a hard time cleaning this.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Clean it with my tongue.
Yeah, you can do it. Just lick it. Very COVID friendly. Yeah.
My sieve. I'm not sharing.
Yeah.
Yes, I have been using it to extract your tea, but not the matcha.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. So it's we've actually done experiments with different sieves, but this is just so the audience can see what Dave's working with there. That's not the right one. That's the right one.
I took the last one.
So that's for the audience. That's for you.
Yeah.
That's for the audience. That's for you. Can you see that?
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
So there's actually you can see through that one. You can't see through that one. And the one that I'm using is pretty fine. Sherri, do you mind around to the left of the fridge there? There's some other sieves. Do you want to grab a little selection? Do you have another sieve, David?
Yes, I do. I'll have to run to the bar and get it.
Do you have? If you have multiple coarsenesses, it'd be kind of interesting. But yeah,
I don't.
Okay, then just grab whatever if you don't mind grabbing it.
I'll be right back.
Awesome, thanks. So we actually did some tests, where.
Put my mask on to go on bar.
Yeah, good call, man. So, that's great. So you can see those are the same one, but. If I want to give you that one back, and then I'll just hold on. That actually too. I think that's just a larger version of this one, but this is exactly what I wanted.
Oh yeah. So this is the one that he has?
Yeah, he's got. Oh. So. Yeah, and I don't know if the audience can see okay, but we got 3 different sieves, and they're all different coarsenesses. And actually, it's really interesting to have the matcha made with a different sieve. You actually get a different flavor. Do you want to try making this one too?
Sure. I have a the largest sieve at home, and I always make it with the large sieve. It's larger than it's twice as large as this one.
You want to speak into that?
Oh, it's twice as large as this sieve, and
that's what you use at home.
That's all I have. So
okay, no, that's cool.
It still tastes good, but I think it could taste better. It still tastes amazing. I think he's getting the dates.
Oh, hi.
So if you want to just grab this bowl and preheat it. David's back.
Yep. Preheating my utensils.
So I was just showing this to the audience, but you can see those.
Yes.
Right? Very different. And what's interesting about these is that different coarsenesses, of course, with what we know from coffee, you're going to have different I should probably sit over on this side if you want to whisk on that side. Is that cool?
Different courses, of course.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, different coarsenesses, of course. Yeah, of course, the coarseness matters. You're gonna find that the flavor gets sweeter when you have a coarser sieve, but doesn't necessarily mean it's better.
Right.
Right. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna have one of these. I don't know if you ate anything, David, but matcha on an empty stomach is.
I could run a date over to you.
Yes, those look. Are they medjool dates? They look quite good.
They're really good. They're Dakti dates.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
From a company called Dakti Dates, sorry. And the owner used to work for me. And he gets them from Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And they're really, really good.
I'll bet.
Pretty mind-blowing. Like, I think actually a different food entirely from the California medjool dates.
Well, and there's another kind you see around as well, and I've forgotten the name. But yeah, there's 2 or 3 that you see in a good grocery store. But no, I've not heard of those. I look forward to seeing. Do you have the label for the packaging?
Product? DACTY.
Okay.
Dakti. That's and then they're actually, that's the name of the company. The type of dates they are would be on his Instagram. I don't have it written down. I'm terrible promoter.
We're not here for the dates. We're here for the matcha.
Yeah, I should get him on the show though. That'd be cool. We should totally do a Dakti
Where is
dates
he?
show. He's in Toronto now.
Cool.
But anyway, I would love you guys to make this. Sherri Ann, if you want to take over here, you want to throw that coarser sieve on top. You want to do 2 grams of matcha. Why don't you do the middle one? Yeah, it's really interesting side by side. Like if you get a chance to get different textures of matcha using the sieve, it's pretty interesting. So if for those watching, if you wanted to make yourself a matcha latte, you can actually follow a fairly similar system as for making the traditional matcha, but the only thing that you would change is instead of using 90 grams of water, you would use 30 grams of water. 90 grams translates pretty easily to milliliters, so 90 milliliters, 90 grams. For our purposes anyways, it's not quite the same, but it's close enough that it works. And then the other thing is, if you're wanting to get the correct temperature, which we're going for here, 65, the max you want to work with is 70. You don't need a temperature variable kettle if you know how the temperature transfer system works, which is that if you transfer hot water into a room temperature vessel, almost with mathematical accuracy, you get a 10-degree drop when you feel the heat of the liquid come through the vessel you've transferred into. So if you start with boiling water, that's 100 always. Anything hotter is steam. So you pour that into your bowl to preheat it. Pour that into, say, like a measuring cup to get you your amount. And then pour that into a random cup. You have 70 degrees. So 3 transfers is 70 degrees. You're going to put that on top of your tea. Matcha 2 grams. Generally speaking, you can get away with a leveled off teaspoon to get you that. But we love a scale for its accuracy. We still use a measuring spoon because it just speeds up the process. And we use the scale as just sort of a confirmation of the process rather than what we're totally utilizing. Anyway, that's my little aside there. So how are we doing over there, David?
Good. Just reheating my water. I switched it off inadvertently, so it's back to 65 degrees.
Lovely. Okay, I think that's where we're at too. I think Sherri Ann just put through 2 grams through the sieve.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing the sieve right now, and I've got it.
Do you want to grab another bowl? I think we forgot to preheat this one, so we'll not preheat the next one either. So you want to? Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Amazing. Do you want to grab another bowl? Any one of them is fine, and then just preheat that one too. And then I'd love you to use this sieve again.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. So if you want to. Thank you very much. I'm kind of guiding processes over here. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna do a side by side, which is really fascinating with this one too. So yeah, if you want to put your 90 grams of water on top of now, so what you're doing now, David, is you're comparing the one that you didn't sieve.
Yep.
Because you couldn't because the sieve was too fine to one that you have sieved and seeing if you're getting a different flavor from the same tea. And what we're doing on our side is we're comparing what we sieved through a fine sieve to one that we're sieving through a coarser sieve. Okay.
All right.
So you want to do the same recipe. You're going to do the 2 grams of tea through the sieve. You're going to do 90 grams of 65 degree centigrade water over top. This tea actually tastes even better, especially as you get into working with it at, oh nice, 2.0 grams. You're on fire. That's 2 out of 3. It's like the last speck on the spoon.
Yeah.
That was like...
The two.
Yeah, that was the two.
Oh, I forgot to put it through.
Those moments. Oh yeah,
I got
push it
so
through.
excited. I forgot about the 3 seconds.
Yeah.
One.
It is exciting.
It's exciting. Yeah. The 90 gram moments are pretty good too. And for those watching, I like to say 0.1 gram of error for the tea, because that little variance is going to have a big impact on end flavor.
That's 5%.
With the water, give yourself a 5 gram sort of human error element. So anywhere from 85 to 95 grams of water.
Do you want me to add the water?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's add the water, whisk, add the water, whisk.
90.
You got this. Sister Speak is in the house.
All right.
Whisking away.
75.
So anywhere from 85 to 95. Always a little less is better than a little bit more, in my opinion.
90.1.
90.1. Okay, I think that's a good place. If you put it here, then
Keep it variable.
yeah,
Scared I'm gonna elbow you in the face.
it's all good. You want to take it off the scale though. Good sort of
M's.
Draw M's, and then you want to draw M's. If you want to actually whisk in camera, that would be awesome. And then you want to go vigorously in the center. Yeah, that long arm is always helpful. How are we doing over there, David?
I'm ready to pour.
Amazing. Okay. And then you mean you've finished whisking?
I have.
Amazing.
I started before you guys. I only had to pour one.
Awesome. Okay. And so I've set David up with a bowl with a lip on it. That's really useful for pouring into another glass. But traditionally, when you're drinking your matcha, that's it. That's called a chawan yuzamashi. We often use those for matcha latte preparations. If you want to empty into here, I'll do that. So there's the coarser one, and then if you want to put your 90-degree water on that, that would be amazing. Sorry, 90 grams of water, not 90-degree water. It's interesting because when you do put 90-degree water on your matcha, you definitely burn it. And again, it burns those proteins that you would also burn off if you were going to mill it hot. It's also proteins that you lose when your matcha is not fresh anymore.
Oh.
So 90.0, like a pro. Wow, that's awesome. So this is a 2.0 gram matcha and 90.0 grams of water. You're hired.
Dialed in.
Dialed in. It's amazing.
This technique.
That's good technique. That's 3, 5, 7, right? So
1,
skills.
2. This bowl's a little tricky.
Look at that froth too. Isn't that a nice thick froth?
Lovely.
Yeah, that's really good.
Well, this one with the sieve is already much sweeter.
Cool. Okay.
It's not as thick in the mouthfeel, which makes sense as well.
Because it's gonna be more airy, right?
Yeah. More like the body is thinner.
It's interesting for us with the coarser texture. It is noticeably lighter, like it's like feathery. And another thing is that I pick up a little bit more texture randomly enough, which I didn't pick up in the finer sieve, and I guess that makes sense.
A little bit more bitter to me though. Tiniest.
Totally. But I think it's because of those coarser areas kind of hitting the tongue. I don't know why. It should be sweeter. So it could also be, it's such a manual process. Like if you whisk a little bit faster, like if you don't take like even the same 15 seconds. If you agitate with a little bit more strength, or like this is why I tell baristas that we're training, like this is your moment of zen. Like the 15 seconds isn't going to go faster because you want it to. So just be like chill, because it's a very manual process. What you put into it is going to really, totally. You can do your little dance if you want. Yeah.
Are you accepting applications?
yeah. Accepting applications. No. That's great. Okay.
Are we going to try this one?
Yeah, let's try that one too. Why don't we get these glasses?
Oh, wait, we probably should have another date, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get all like matcha.
Do you have your dates there, right?
Oh, these are my dates.
Those are your dates. I have my dates.
Man.
So that's another glass. If you want to rinse that one out, which you've almost done, then you could use that one as your second glass. Or there's more glasses on the drying rack right on the bottom of the drying rack. Perfect. Okay, cool. So what are we is there any differences in what you're picking up in terms of tasting notes in this one?
Well, it's like I say, it's sweeter,
Yeah.
I wish I'd saved some of the earlier one, but it would have been cold by now in any case, which would again probably have brought more sweetness out. Is that correct?
Colder gives you more flavor clarity because it's closer to room temperature. Your tongue can perceive flavors a little bit better. But
would there be any settling going on as it cools?
Because exactly, because it's not it's not salt or sugar that we're working with. It's not gonna like dissolve. It's just going to be suspended particulate, and therefore, the longer you let it sit, the more it will definitely fall. And so when I drink a matcha that's had a chance to fall like that, I make sure to give it a little swirl, and then it's generally good. But there's still extraction happening, right? Like as much as matcha's not really about extraction in the same way like a sencha is or a standard loose tea is. That doesn't mean that extraction isn't happening. It's just for some reason slowed down a bit. You'd think it would go way faster than it does, considering how much surface area is being but I don't you get a good I think 2-minute window of opportunity to taste some really good flavors, but you let it sit longer than that, and I find that it's just not ideal. In tea ceremony you drink it right away. Like it's 1, 2, 3 slurp, you're done.
I like this one.
Yeah.
It tastes almost identical to me, actually.
This one is more floral. I get more of the aromatics out of it. It's not as light. There's a richer texture to it.
This one tastes a tiny bit less bitter to me.
Okay. Yeah, let me go back and forth. What is it when you say bitter? I wonder. It's such an...
Like lemons or like cocoa?
Yeah. Like lemons or like cocoa?
Oh, good call.
One being sour, one being bitter.
Cocoa.
Okay, so
that would be bitter.
That would be. Yeah, so you're picking up more bitters in this one. To me, it's like...
The first one I was getting more bitters.
The very first one.
No, the very first one had the least of everything. What sieve was that?
That was the same one as we used the third time.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a direct comparison.
Yeah, so this one tasted more like the last one tasted more like the first one.
Good, it should.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
Oh, because it's the same sieve.
Because it's the same sieve.
You! Science!
Yes. Consistency. And also you had a date before having these, so that's going to affect how you perceive flavor.
But I did have a date before the second one as well.
Yes, so that's a fairer comparison.
Yet I still like the first one the best.
You might prefer... I actually like this tea.
Without the date?
Yeah, because... it's going to reduce your perception of sweetness. It's going to taste more bitter because you already have a sweet tongue.
Which one did we use first?
We used this one first.
Is that different?
So
we have 4 here.
Yeah, we have 4. We never used this one.
Okay.
And then David tried and failed to use this one.
Yep.
And then really, for the audience, those are the 2 we used.
So this is the first one and the last one?
That's the first and third, and this is the second.
Yeah. So the finer sieve, but not the super fine, but the fine.
And that's what when we did tests, we decided that this is the one we liked.
Oh, I agree.
So we actually switched all of our processes. All of our customers get this now.
Processes are
except me.
I didn't give you a sieve. I asked if you had one, and you said yes. But you were being cheeky. You were like, yeah, Jared, you gave me one last time when you gave me tea, man.
And you thought he was being for real.
Well, we both thought he was being for real. David didn't realize he couldn't use the superfine sieve for the matcha process.
Yes, I only had the one to look at. The other sieves out front we use to extract our black teas when we're making a tea latte.
There you go.
Oh, that's what it's for.
But it works for this process.
It worked very well, yeah.
So it's that slider course. It's probably...
I mean, you're not here to tell me how well it worked. But for my purposes, it worked quite well.
Yeah, awesome. No, I believe you. You have a very good palate, my friend. But I do actually pick up which one was this one? Do you remember? I think it was the second one.
I think it was... I don't know.
I don't know anymore.
Good thing that we're sharing the matchas, because drinking a full 3 matchas would be quite
intense. You know, I already had a matcha this morning and 2 espresso.
I had a matcha and I added curry powder to it. How crazy is that?
Oh my god! Wow.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, even I know not to do that.
Yeah. Did you really do that?
I did.
Wow. Oh my god.
For circulation, my leg was feeling like it needed to have circulation. I don't know what was.
Matcha is not a tool. Matcha is a.
I actually did. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I mixed matcha with the masala chai.
Yeah.
And curry powder, mild curry powder.
Okay.
With no salt in the curry powder.
No salt in the curry powder. Well, curry powder often has turmeric and cloves
like
milk and chai and sorry, not chai. Of course.
Ginger and cardamom.
Right? Like when you look at the ingredients of a chai mix, it does depend. Sorry, on a curry mix, it does depend. You probably had some chili pepper in there.
No, it was a mild one, so there were no chili flakes.
Chili would probably,
Well, kind of fun, I could see a cayenne or a chili. I think that the curry powder would have been too much going on. I think it would mask so much. But again, you were drinking it for a purpose.
Yeah, it was like circulatory purpose, and it was interesting because
more of a
it was
tonic.
An experiment. It's like golden milk. Sorry, what was that?
More of a tonic than a culinary experience.
Tonic.
But you felt a good culinary.
Oh, it was delicious.
Okay, there you go. It works, yeah.
With oat milk.
Well, there's the next product line.
Yeah.
Matcha curry.
Well, we do have this this lovely. Where are we? I should do a little commercial here. Come on, little tin. Those of you watching, this is our green tea chai.
Yes.
This is a matcha with black pepper and cinnamon. As long as you're throwing it in with some milk, it's pretty yummy. Milk of choice. And for those who don't know this, the Stick in the Mud serves this particular product.
We sell a lot of that.
You do, right? So it is linked to this idea of combining spices with tea and then putting it into. I imagine you probably had that with some oat milk or something?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. So it was more of a latte rather than it might be a little bit overbearing if you had it as a traditional with just whisked in some.
I tried it a sip without the milk in it, and it was not really the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
But then with the milk, it made it fun.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's
cool. The flavors would bind with the fat particles of the milk, and that would disperse it over your tongue, I imagine. Otherwise, you're just sort of drinking hot water with stuff in it.
Yeah, exactly.
It would like clash. Yeah.
You need the oils.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Fat makes a big difference. Okay, we're actually coming up at the end of the show here. We've gone way past the time that I'd asked of David, but he told me in advance he was okay with that. But and I appreciate your time, though, David.
Absolutely.
It's been a slice. But you wanna? Did you have any comments you wanted to make about the tea, or questions you had for us, or anything you want to say to the audience before we part ways here?
Jared, I really appreciate being a part of this. This is really, really nice to bring two parts of the the beverage industry together. I enjoyed the matcha. It's been a while since I've had one, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. So now that I've got the correct sieve, I will finish this container.
Please do. Yeah. I always tell people don't put the good matcha up on a pedestal. You got about 3 weeks once you open it to go through it before that oxidation starts to kick in. And really, it's a ticking time bomb right from the beginning, right? Like you are definitely tasting like there is a degradation of flavor even tomorrow, right? Like it's
absolutely. And the same with coffee. I mean, best to grind fresh for your purposes. I mean, I have higher standards at work than I do at home. I quite often have old coffee at home, but at work it's like, oh no, grind fresh.
Yeah. Ditto.
And I mean, you want to display the product as well as you possibly can.
Totally.
Your matcha is great. Your product line is really terrific, and I appreciate being a part of your distribution network.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to have you, and I'm really glad that you do as well, man. The London Fog is also served at the Stick in the Mud. Are you guys still doing that specialty drink with the green tea chai? Are you doing that what was it called, the 420?
Yeah, the 420. Now and then, it's not really on the menu. Okay. But people who know.
The people who know.
Oh yeah, that is still available.
It's like a yerba. Am I allowed to tell you?
Yeah, of course. Okay, it's the Goyaki yerba mate. Yeah, that's right. And it's super good.
As a steamer, right? And then you add the matcha or the green tea chai to the mix, and it's like a yerba mate green tea chai. I think
that's right.
Like it.
What if you made it a latte? Is it a 421?
It is a latte. The latte is a 420.
Ah.
Yeah.
What could we add to make it a 421?
421?
Maple syrup.
Just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
A little bit of time.
Nice.
I was thinking actually rosemary.
That was really good. That was like a minute, right?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's just a longer brew time, and we go from 420 to 421. I like it. Okay, this is great. I think that's a great way to. Do you have some words you want to say before we say goodbye to David here?
I was thinking parsley, sage, and rosemary as well.
Right.
I want time.
Good.
I want the song. I want Simon and Garfunkel. I want you to make a Simon and Garfunkel
I'm not going to do that. You're going to do that.
It's going to be amazing.
You can make a truth and
You know what?
Yeah, good.
Goes on this. I really dislike Paul Simon.
Oh no! Okay.
I mean, I never met him, of course, but it's just, I have a hard time with his music.
Okay.
I apologize.
I'll be the opposite end of that. I love Paul Simon's music.
Good. Yin and yang. Nice balance. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. It makes it work. I don't know enough depth. I just know that when I hear the music, especially that song
50 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Oh, yeah.
That song, I hear it, it just melts my soul. I just love that song.
And Sparrow.
Sparrow. Okay. Yeah, I got to give it a listen.
Little Sparrow.
And then we got how can you not like Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme? Like that song.
It's going to require a conversation that's longer and more in depth than we have time for. I spent a lot of time working. Sorry?
When we have time for it, I'm into it. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, what was it?
I spent a lot of time working in radio, on air and radio stations. And certain things just built up bad memories for me.
Music can do that. It's hard to listen to songs that have certain memories associated, or like you can get sick of certain artists.
Yes, and most radio stations have very, very small playlists.
Right.
And so you might hear something far too regularly to enjoy. Like it was great the first 400 or 500 times, and then it's just like,
I have spots of hair missing in my scalp. Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm a weird human being. On that note, I never. Yeah, thank you. I never get sick of songs. Ever.
Unless you don't like them in the beginning, you said.
That's right. If I don't like them, or I'm fairly neutral to them, or sort of don't like them from the beginning, then I get sick of them. But if I enjoy a song, the first time I hear it, generally speaking, I can listen to it 6,000 times. And
I agree as a consumer of music.
Right.
But as someone who was paid and to play music that wasn't necessarily the genre you'd like, that was more difficult. So you're confronted with this music that is someone else's taste. But when I go home, I have albums that I've listened to. In fact, I've got a turntable set up here at work. Albums I've listened to hundreds and hundreds of times. And those songs do not get old. Some do. But for the most part, the ones that you love forever.
Yeah. And if you listen to them enough over a shorter period of time, they also latch up to a memory like you're talking about, too.
Yeah, I've got a lot of memory songs. But, sometimes there'll be like one or two songs by an artist that's a memory I either like or a memory I don't really like. And then I'll find a song by that same artist and that doesn't have a memory really attached to it yet.
Right.
Like I actually, speaking of, I don't keep bringing it up, but Paul Simon, I recently heard some songs that I'd never heard of his, and that's what actually made me really love Paul Simon. And it was the song I did actually get sick of some of the Simon and Garfunkel songs.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though I do love them, it was Mrs. Robinson them.
Yep.
That's the one that like I can listen to. I love like sometimes, but like I get a little bit like I've played so much that
you have a hard time with it when it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I mean, a brilliant
song.
So many brilliant artists out there. It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's it's a good point. I just wanted to Paul Simon, Simon and Garfunkel, it all works. Yeah, but and memories. I was just during the pandemic been listening to a lot of music.
Yeah.
And I've been having conversations with people about actually, I don't like this artist anymore because I listened to them so much in March that it just reminds me of that. That's kind of sad, right? So
yeah,
I wonder if I'm in that category for anybody.
I hope not. I hope not. Sister Speak's pretty rad. Yeah.
Sister Speak in March.
We're gonna have to have you. We're gonna have to have you listen to. David actually grabbed one of my albums. I forced it on him the other day, and he said he was gonna do a little listening gig with it, but he said you were a little bit too inebriated to remember the music. Am I allowed to say that on live?
Am I allowed to admit that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was caffeine, right? Yeah.
We hit the sauce.
Yeah.
And actually, we did it here in this room on the turntable here.
Okay.
So yeah, not the turntable, but the CD player here.
Right.
Connected to the mixing board and the sound system at the stick.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. And then you got a chance to go through the poetry book and all that fun stuff.
Well, I did that at home beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
and that I have a stronger memory of that than I do of the music, frankly, because of the wine.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't. Yeah. David is a very responsible human being, so I just want to say that for the live audience as well. Well, are you maybe not always responsible? No, I'm just joking.
I had a quick question. David, would you be interested in trading 2 421 teas for a copy of our vinyl record, Sister Speaks?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Sister Speak. You can also check her out. Those watching, sisterspeakmusic.com.
Great.
At Sister Speak Music for the Instagram. David is at the Stick in the Mud for his Instagram. Is it at the Stick in the Mud Coffee? I think it's
Just the Stick in the Mud.
Yeah, it's at the Stick in the Mud. And then they can find you at Stick in the Mud without the right .ca for your webpage.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
And then jagasoap.com, of course, for us. Did you have anything you wanted to say as we're wrapping up?
Oh, I actually want to make a visit to Stick in the Mud, maybe even this weekend. I was curious if you'll be around.
I double dare you to come. I won't be here on the weekend, and we are closed Sundays these days. That was one of the decisions we made after COVID, was to be open only 6 days a week.
That's good.
So if you want to come out and so we can connect, send me an email beforehand. Jared's got the email address, and I'll make sure that I'm around.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, lots of family in Souk.
Yes.
Social distance visit.
Yeah. Social distance visit. Yes, this is good.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, David, for coming on the show. I really appreciate having you here. I also really enjoyed I always love to have people that are in sort of the flavor enthusiast industry being a part of these shows, and I'm really glad to have had you on. I hope you enjoy the rest of the matcha. We're also doing a show, just so everybody knows, next week. The JagaVision will be canceled because I'll be co-hosting the Victoria Tea Festival Revival online, November 23rd, noon until noon. I'll be co-hosting for 24 hours straight. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
We'll have farmers on from origin, Japan, China, Taiwan. We'll have vendors like tea companies in England, like in London. We'll have Vancouver, Victoria. It's going to be quite a global connection piece. We'll be doing 45-minute segments on different topics. You can check it out on victeafestrevival.org for details, which is going to be pretty fun. So anyway, thank you very much, David. Really appreciate your time today.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. So that was really lots of fun to have David on the the show. It was great to have Sister Speak here too. Really appreciate you guys all tuning in and checking things out. And you can check us out again, not next week on Thursday, but the following week. Details will be on jagasoap.com on the top page if you want to see what we're going to be drinking, what we're going to be enjoying. That's where you're going to find out that information. You can also click to join our newsletter, Jaga Spam. If you want to go and do that, you can get more details and you can get some different deals, etc., on different teas. Right now, for those who are watching this live, the Okumidori by Fujioka is on for 50% off, which is pretty rad. Competition grade matcha in your hands for a lot less than it normally is. It's normally a $52 tea, if I remember correctly, so it's pretty awesome. Yeah, hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you. Hopefully you can tune in to victeafestrevival.org on Monday, noon till noon. See you there.